Hi everyone, it's Ileana again with card number 3 from the Simon Says Stamp Card Kit for August 2014. And to start off, I take the pattern paper that comes in the kit and I trim it down to 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And I will explain to you in a little bit about how I came up with that measurement. So I've mounted my sentiment that comes in the stamp set. It's the one that says, "I love you more than ice cream." That's a lot. And I've mounted it right into the corner, and I've used the grid line that's on the lid to line it up, and it's exactly a quarter inch tall. And so what I did was I measured the length of the sentiment, and then I added that 1/4 inch. I'm adding more paper to MISTI because of the 2 edges that form that corner. It's a little harder to stamp right in that little corner because you can't push down on the lid as much there. So just by adding some paper, it forms a shim and makes it much easier to stamp in the corner. I'm using Paper Tray ink True Black for stamping. And I will continue to stamp all the way around the pattern paper, rotating it 90 degrees every time to form a perfect border all the way around. And you can see how it's the exact distance all the way around. Now I've taken a piece of craft cardstock and I'm going to be stamping with the polka dot border stamp that comes in the stamp set. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the plastic film that comes with the Stamp-O-Majig and I am just wedging it down into that bottom left hand corner. I'm putting my stamp right on the top and I'm lining that top polka dot row with the top of the plastic film. I'm inking this up in black so that I'll be able to see it better on that plastic film, making sure that it's tucked into that corner. Once I've completed that, I'll remove the plastic and I will stamp onto my grid paper just so that I have a reference point as to where my image will stamp. I did clean off my stamp with a baby wipe and I'm just making sure that it's dry. I have my cardstock. It is the craft cardstock from Paper Tray ink and it's cut down to form a 5x5 card. I'm inking up my stamp with Memories pigment ink in unicorn white and I've stamped it onto the edge of the card, and I wanted to start with the folds so that if I needed to trim around the card I don't need to worry about the pattern at the crease. I've used the plastic film to line up where I want my next row of dots to go, and then once I figured that out I will tuck both pieces into MISTI to get my alignment. And after each side I go ahead and I emboss it so that by the time I get all the way around the pigment ink hasn't dried, and I was just using white embossing powder. And so we'll do that all the way around using the plastic film to get our alignment. And once we go all the way around, we have that one little row of dots that needs to be stamped. So what I do is I just figure out where I need to stamp, and then I just take some Post-it paper and I just mask off the rest of the card. And then I will stamp that one little row of dots. And because I'm stamping on the edge of MISTI with the Post-it tape, I need to add another shim to the bottom, and I just use the back side of the plastic film to help me stamp that one little row. And once all that's completed, I emboss that one small section, and because it's still sort of warm from the last time I embossed it, I do get a little bit of embossing powder, and I just use a dry watercolor brush to remove any stray embossing powder. And as I'm looking at the video, it looks like there are gaps around the card, but you'll see in the final picture it's not noticeable at all. So now I'm going to assemble my card, and I'm going to take some foam adhesive and adhere the green piece to the craft cardstock. Now you could save a little bit of time by not using the embossing powder, but I wanted to do that step because I didn't want to smear the pigment ink as I worked around the card. And I did it this way instead of stamping the entire card front because I'm not going to be seeing that center part. I just thought it would be just as easy just to go around the border. And I'm centering my green piece to the front of the card, and then I am going to take some of the ice cream treats that are in the stamp set and adhere them to the front. I've stamped the ice cream cone onto a scrap piece of Paper Tray Ink Stamper Select cardstock, and I've used my Memento Tuxedo Black ink because I'll be using my Copic colors for this. I am not an expert at Copic coloring. I just color until I see something that I like, and I don't have very many colors, so I'm just working with what I have. And I have some of the other ice cream treats already completed from previous experimentation, and I'm just going to use those pieces up, and this is the only one that I needed to do for my card front. And so I'm trying to blend my colors in, and I'm using the lighter color, and I've moved on to the pink. And I'm not even going to list the colors that I used, but if you're really interested, leave me a comment and I'll let you know what colors I've used. But I've just used shades of pink to make it look like strawberry ice cream. And once I've completed the coloring, I will let it dry for just a little bit, and then I will fussy cut around my stamped image. And when I'm done cutting around the image, I will take a black Copic marker and I will line the edge of it so that it looks a little better. Sometimes when you cut around, you still see the white edge. And I go from the back side so that I don't accidentally mark on my colored side, which I've done before. And now I've taken some of those pieces, like I said, I had previously done before, and I'm just trying to figure out the position. And I've used my scratch piece of Melon Mambo that I used on the other cards, and I've cut out a banner from the Sketchy Banner set of dies from Simon Says Stamp, and I've stamped the sentiment "You're So Cool" onto that, and it fits perfectly right in there. And I've used the True Black Paper Tray ink to do the sentiment. And I like to use that ink because the image does come out very crisp. I just prefer that for detail stamping. I've used foam adhesive to adhere my banner to the front of my card, and I've just centered it onto the bottom part of the green pattern paper, and I'm just trying to figure out the arrangement of my 3 treats on the front of my card. I've mounted all of those with foam adhesive, and the ice cream cone in the middle, I've actually put 2 layers of foam onto that, and I'm using the ice cream cone to cover up the bite from the popsicle that's on the left. It's okay, but I just didn't like the yellow that was on it, so I just wanted to cover it up by hiding it behind the ice cream cone. Once everything is adhered down to the front of the card, I decide that I want to add a little bit of sparkle to the front of the card, and I'm just going to coat all of my ice cream treats with my clear Wink of Stella pen. This is a really cool little pen or marker, and it does come in handy, and it just adds a little bit of shimmer, and it's not very bulky, and it dries very quickly. And once everything is coated with that, I try to embellish my card further by playing around with enamel dots and sequins, and it started to stress me out, so I just decided this is the time to stop. So I kept it simple, and thanks for watching. Be sure you hit the like button and subscribe, and head on over to the blog and also subscribe to that. And thanks for watching.